What up, E?
What's going on? Man, those are some nice medals.
Yeah, man, these are hard to come by.
Yeah, well, I've got 2 of them.
Well, that's nothing like going to March Madness, though.
We did go to a national championship.
Okay, guys, whatever. Let's just get on the Montana party bus and head over to Press Box for lunch.
Yeah.
Nuanez Now and Skyline Sports, covering Montana athletics and the Big Sky Conference better than anybody. The Montana Party Bus and the Press Box are also proud supporters of Montana athletes.
Hey, cheers to you guys, man. Cheers to Montana. Cheers to chasing more championships.
Hello, I'm Angie Miller from Ryan Miller & Coburn Trial Attorneys. Because of my background with a biology degree, I bring in expertise when it comes to cases of medical malpractice and personal injury. You don't want to fight the insurance companies yourself. Let Ryan Miller & Coburn help you earn the justice you deserve.
You can call Ryan Miller & Coburn anytime, 542-2233, or visit rmcattorneys.com. Ryan Miller & Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Town Pump. Right down the road. Pump it up. Oh, yeah.
We continue our coverage of Montana's home game against the University of North Dakota, and the head coach of the Fighting Hawks, Eric Schmidt, joins us. He has been a guest in the past several different times on our various podcasts and radio shows, but now he is in a new seat as the head coach there at his alma mater. Coach, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
You got it, Colter. Thanks for having me on.
So first of all, tell us about sort of your path back to your alma mater. You were there as the defensive coordinator for a while, and then you spent some time in the FBS, but probably a pretty alluring job for you when that came open as a guy that played at North Dakota and a guy that's coached there before as well. So tell us just about what led you back to Grand Forks.
Yeah, being from the area, obviously it hits different. I think once upon a time you sat in those chairs, and obviously I had a ton of respect for the guys who coached me. That's a huge reason why I got into coaching, was because of those guys, right? Like I wanted to be a coach because of how those guys mentored and poured into their players and just, really, I felt like helped change my life and change a lot of my best friends' lives too as well for the better, and helped us be self-sufficient human beings once we left Grand Forks. And obviously been back here a number of times. I left initially after I was a player and was a head high school coach in Minnesota, and then my first college job was back here, and there couldn't have been a lower person on the totem pole than me. You know what I mean? At that time, like I was the guy that was doing all the odds and end jobs and all those types of things, and then just have been blessed to be around a lot of good people and had some opportunities, and then came back as the D coordinator a few years after that, and then when I had the opportunity to come back as the head coach here, last winter, just something that right timing, right place for me personally, professionally, and excited to be back here now and leading this place, and great to have the guys in the building too as well that I was able to surround myself with. Feel like those guys are doing a great job of mentoring and building relationships with everybody in the building.
When you're in the midst of just the grind of coaching, and you're sort of starting to get into it and you're starting to climb the ladder, but I mean, it takes a long time, takes patience. But when you're in it, maybe you don't look at it from a big picture. Now that you have the head coaching job, though, at your alma mater, have you taken a step back and thought, like, wow, this is pretty cool. I made it to here. I made it to be the head coach at the place that I once upon a time played.
Yeah, I know you're blessed. I mean, it was, it hits you when, you see the guys sitting in those seats and just thinking back to, when you sat in those seats, and I feel like it wasn't that long ago to the kids nowadays. They think I'm old. So it was, it was longer than I like to think, but for sure, man, I just think, when you're really tied to a university and have, the background that I have with this place, anybody that comes through here and adds to the rich tradition and just, puts a little bit more wood on the fire here than when they left, man, you're automatically, indebted into those people and care about them. And just, that strong connection and brotherhood is something like I said before, I just think it's different at this place just because of how deep and connected former players are with current players, and definitely humbled and blessed to be able to have this opportunity.
Eric Schmidt joining us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, as well as SWX Montana Television and the ESPN MT app. Head coach of University of North Dakota. They're in Missoula on Saturday, take on the number 5th ranked Montana Grizzlies. So, you've seen this whole evolution of the FCS, and right now you see these powers that be in the Big Sky and the powers that be in the Missouri Valley. And it's been such a crazy thing to watch that everybody's been chasing like this one team, right, for 15 years. And South Dakota State has made a little bit of a dent in the armor, but still, NDSU is still the reigning national champions yet again. And probably even more fascinating from your seat, though, as sort of their in-state rival and all that. So what do you think is the key for North Dakota to close that gap? And also, what gives you confidence? Because you mentioned before we went on, just all the stuff that North Dakota has poured into the university and the athletic department. It seems like you guys are making great progress, as is many of these powers that be, yet the champion still remains the same.
Yeah, great question. I think that's something that's near and dear to my heart. I think it comes down to relationships, right? I think that's really big in this business. You got to be able to build real connections, with high school kids. That's still the way we want to build it here, is to be able to build it through the high schools and develop kids here that are 18, 19, 20 years old that you've had in your building for 2 and 3 years before they, have an opportunity to be able to get on the field. Rather do that than, trying to work everything through the portal. But I just think, it's all about relationships, number one, and making sure that you do a great job of these guys really feeling like, hey, man, you care about them. You're going to pour into them. Not only are they going to develop athletically, but personally too as well. You're going to help them be able to be built for life. Like I said earlier, I think that's a big piece of this too as well. And then I think the development piece is number 2. They got to believe that, hey, they're gonna come to your university and they want to lock arms with you because they think that their best opportunity to be able to reach their goals is with the people and in the buildings that you provide, every single day. So to me, those are the most important things. And then it's just, we talk about around here, Colter, is relentless pursuit of continuous improvement, man. It's just every single day, just pouring into these guys and inch by inch by inch, working to get better. And that's something that I think our guys have done a good job of up to this point.
Last big picture question, then we can talk about your season so far and the matchup. Because to me, it seems like North Dakota is very similar to Montana State, North Dakota State, in the fact that you do need to be able to recruit guys and then develop them. And the keeping the talented guys is becoming so much harder, right? So how do you balance the getting guys that you want to develop, but also, managing this new age existence with the transfer portal and the NIL and all the stuff that goes along with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it goes back to, like I said before, it's relationships and guys understanding that, hey, like there could be other opportunities elsewhere, but they're not life-changing opportunities, and hopefully they feel like, hey, man, I like my position coach. I feel like I'm getting developed here. I want to get a degree from this university. I'm farther along, to be able to get that. There's a lot of unknowns when you leave a place, and I think once you're improving and getting better and developing at a place, and they feel like they're getting what they need in order to be able to reach their goals. I think that's ultimately how you're going to be able to keep guys at your place. And I do think being on the West Coast the last 6 years, there's a lot of other factors out there, a lot of different people and groups that are in kids' ears. I do think when you're in places like Montana and the Dakotas and the upper Midwest, you can be a little bit isolated. Nobody's, completely isolated, but, kids are from the area. They're recruited from the area. They feel like the schools that they are big time universities. They grew up watching those games and wanting to be at those places. So I always think like, hey, you do a good job of recruiting in your own backyard. There's going to be, some family ties, some geographical ties to your university, and that's going to help you be able to retain kids too as well.
Is a will you marry me in your future? Or maybe you do it all over again. Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life, because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula, on Brooks, across from the Montana.
Hello, my name name is Kelly Ayat, quarterback of the University of Montana. In the off-season, it's important to do everything you can to prepare for the season. In high school, that means funding your program. My experience, Vertical Raise is the ultimate online fundraiser platform. Now broaden your reach of your fundraiser and bring in more money than other platforms. And there are no sneaky or hidden fees like other companies. If you're trying to raise money for your program, reach out to Vertical Raise today.
Yeah, no doubt. You definitely have seen that with both North Dakota and Montana kids from around the area. They love the university that they go to, right? They dreamt of being a Fighting Hawk or a Grizz. I think that's what college football is supposed to be all about. So let's talk about your team so far. I've actually had a chance to watch both your games. Very impressed. So you guys went into Kansas State with so much confidence. Obviously, you want that as a new head coach, but where did that come from, and how much did that help give you guys a chance in Manhattan a couple weeks ago?
Great question. I just think the process is something that we talk about here a lot. We're not worried about the outcomes, you know what I mean? We're worried more about the process, and it's those daily disciplines that, we really put a lot of emphasis in our program that guys, every single day are putting in real work. I think you put in real work, you're going to have real confidence, I think just the way we take care of our guys, like obviously the assistant coaches here and what they've been able to do, I've been just really, really pleased. The first meeting I sat in, Colter, nobody said a word. Nobody knew what the rules were. Could I talk? Couldn't I talk? And, and now you get into those meetings and the energy that's in those rooms is awesome to see because our assistant coaches have built some really good relationships, with our players. And then I just think it's the daily work, like I said, the daily behaviors and guys just, slowly but surely just being able to develop and get better. And I think, I'm excited about where a couple of our guys are, just some guys that are older players that are, hopefully primed now to leave here having their best season as their last year. And then some other players that, maybe had a little bit of a role a year ago or were just kind of starting to emerge. Now they're carving out even a bigger role for themselves, going into year 2 or year 3, depending on where they're at in our program. So I just think collectively, just not just the coaches, but all the helpers and supporters that we have in our program, whether that's sports science or nutrition or athletic training, just doing a great job of being able to be able to help and give these guys a great experience. And I think when it's run like that and it's run clean, that there's some belief and confidence that, the players gain, out of the program, just, having the right protocols every single day.
And I had a nice win over Portland State last week, 50-20. So what did you like about your team's performance, and what do you hope to carry over into this week?
I thought at home, it's important, especially in a game like that, to start fast. You want to be able to get out to a lead. I think we were up 22-0 before Portland State got a first down. I think offensively we've been able to play pretty consistent football throughout the first 2 games. Minus you mentioned a little bit about the Kansas State game. The third quarter was not a good quarter for us, and we went into halftime scoring and up 17-14, and then getting the ball back coming out of the halftime break and just didn't do a very good job in the middle 8 there. And then continuing on through the third quarter had a really rough go of being able to get the ball back and get it back to our offense and get off the field on defense, and then offensively staying on schedule. But I thought we did a better job the first 3 quarters against Portland State, and then just didn't finish it the way we wanted to. Gave up a strip sack fumble at the end of that game, and just didn't think defensively on third down that we played up to the standard that we need to play at. If we're gonna go on the road and beat a really good opponent like Montana, then we're gonna have to be able to put 4 quarters together.
When it comes then to this matchup, Eric Schmidt, head coach of North Dakota, joining us. His team in Missoula on Saturday to take on the Montana Grizzlies. Your initial impressions of Montana, only 1 game of film, so that's a little bit odd considering everybody else has played 2 or even 3 games. But just your initial impressions from what you saw of Montana in the game they have played.
Yeah, I mean, even watching them last year, first of all, Coach Houck does a great job there. I just got a lot of respect for him and just the details of the game. I think, you look at, how they operate offensively, defensively. I think he's one of the better special teams coaches that I've been around. He does a great job there of helping his guys be successful and really doing some good things on special teams to be able to, make that be the difference maker in close games. So I think, offensively, the skill positions probably stand out to you right away. I mean, the running back is really, really good. A guy that's really out of the backyard here of our, recruiting ground here too as well. So, it's great to watch him. I mean, a patient runner, a physical runner, a guy who really I think has a lot of confidence in the guys up in front of him, and does a great job of waiting, and then when he hits it, man, he goes, and it's really impressive to be able to watch that. I think quarterback wise, obviously, some of the sample from last year between, the guys rotating through and knew the Fife kid a little bit when I was at Fresno. He was there with me, and then seeing, just 8 and where he's evolved to now, and not just being able to make plays with his arm, but keeping plays alive and throwing and being accurate on the run, and then making plays with his feet too as well, is definitely got our attention. And then 6 is a really good player. You get a guy like that from Eastern Washington who's an all Big Sky player. I got a lot of respect for the skill guys. In the Big Sky, there's a lot of talent running around that league. So I just think the depth of where they are at the skills, and then obviously big and physical and strong up front on offense. I think their tight ends got some nasty to them. They'll play with some tenacity and really block, throughout the echo of the whistle. And then defensively, it's always been a challenge, right? Like, they just do a great job. The Rocky Long stuff, I call it organized chaos. A lot of people don't like playing against that, and they talk about, sometimes it's gimmick football. I just think, hey, when you practice that way every day and you get good at it, like that's who they are. And I think, obviously they've been really successful on that side of the ball. So we know we got our hands full coming in on Saturday, playing in that venue against that team. Like, there's a lot of tradition there, and I know there's going to be a lot of fight in them. So excited to have an opportunity like this, just to kind of see where we're at right now. It's a huge test for us, and we'll get some answers on our guys, what they can do on Saturday afternoon.
Eric Schmidt joining us here on Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio. Coach, best of luck. We'll catch up with you on Saturday, but thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Colter. You have a good one. All right. Appreciate you.